Welcome to the RnBe, the sexy show right here on the Comicstorian YouTube channel, the iTunes, the SoundCloud, and on our Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian, in which we discuss random topics that have happened in the comic book world. We discuss theory crafting and things along those lines that we enjoy and we hope you enjoy, either educating each other and you or educating ourselves in the world of comic books. Today, I'm going to be attempting to keep my voice much lower than usual. I'm not exhausted, but I've been told that I am much too loud for my own set. Every time you've heard me be echoey, that is not me failing to turn the mic on, that is me coming across every microphone sitting here in the room. Hopefully this sounds better. Now, before we can get into today's episode, I do want to let you know that this is streamed live every Thursday at about 2 p.m. Eastern. Rob and I sit here and talk about our topics live on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/EligibleMonster, where you can come over and join the fun. This particular episode was filmed on Monday because, as you may see, we have a guest.
Hi.
His name is Sal. He's from a channel known as Comic Pop. He's in town, so we filmed this and another episode and something else that I'm not going to name on this because it's a surprise on this particular week while he was here on a Monday. So join our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/EligibleMonster to see that. Now, you may be wondering why Rob looks potentially stoned. It's because we just revealed to Rob that he has a cadence when he goes into explain mode. You guys like to joke around that Rob explains things to you. When he gets mentally into that space, he has a preset pattern in his voice, and he's starting to realize it.
I don't think I do.
Everyone here agrees you do, Rob.
No, he does, though.
Okay. All right, so hold on.
So what do I want to
Gary,
do
could
here?
you shut the door over there?
No, okay. So, all right.
So what do I want to do here?
Okay, the Flash. The Flash.
Yeah.
All right, so, oh my God, I think I do. So Jay Garrick appeared in Flash Comics number one, back in whatever it was, 1940 something. And then with, fuck.
Every time you almost know something, that's what you say. 1947, whatever it was.
Okay, so Jay Garrick appeared back in 1940 whatever in Flash Comics number one. And at the time, Atomic Energy was the name of the game.
Atomic Energy.
Atomic Energy was the name of the game. So Jay Garrick got his powers from heavy water. And then as the comic book...
Boom.
Oh my God, I do.
Your voice will peak at the exact points and go down to the low points at the exact same pattern over and over.
No way.
That's why people say that you're soothing and you can put people to sleep.
Yeah.
Because you have
You're
preset pattern.
them.
So Barry Allen appeared in 1956 with DC Showcase number 4. Fuck!
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He can't break the pattern.
It's like a gentle wave from the ocean.
So Barry Allen first appeared in DC Showcase number 4, and his whole character was rooted in the idea of blending science fiction with superhero genres. And
Are you sure?
and Julia Schwartz said, we have to merge the two because nobody really cares about superheroes anymore, so we have to get the science fiction genre, which is really popular, and bring it into superheroes. So
there we go.
It feels so unnatural.
Yeah, you're gonna kill the channel if you change it. Don't change it.
Yeah, but
People love it. No.
so unnatural.
That felt more like a giant run-on sentence.
Yeah.
It does. Wow.
Because really they all are. But the drop adds a kind of like unofficial period.
They are really run-on sentences.
Here's the funny thing. Our Twitch chat is saying that you won't be able to record for the next week because the whole time you'd be like, fuck, oh no.
Wow.
Well, I gotta pack it in. I built this whole room with this soundproofing.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna like go home and listen to videos.
Yeah.
Just be like, damn.
It's the same pattern over and over and over. Yeah.
Wow.
We've killed Comics Explained.
We have killed Comics Explained. So a little quick before we get into it, today's topic is going to be what's next in DC. We wanted to theorize ourselves, discuss it, but before we get into what's coming after Rebirth, what's coming in now, what we know, what we think is going to happen, Sal.
Hey.
For those of you people who don't know who you are and they don't find us over on the weekly poll every other week on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/EligibleMonster, what are you?
Well,
who are you?
I'm Sal. Hi, and I run a YouTube channel called Comic Pop, which you may be familiar with because you've probably seen it in some collaboration with Comicstorian or Comics Explained. If not, welcome to the channel. When you go there eventually, we do comic book discussions. It's kind of informal chats about your favorite or your least favorite comics, and just kind of delving into the nitty gritty and kind of sharing them in a fun kind of collegiate way. We just have a good time and play with your friends and stuff like that. So it's basically just a whole big discussion series.
Basically, if you enjoy the weekly poll, or you enjoy RnBe, or you enjoy all the insanity that happens with me, Rob, Dan, and Gary right here on Comicstorian, that's pretty much what they do 24/7.
Yeah, you'll get it you'll get it 5 days a week.
Yeah, that's always what they do. The discussion pieces, they go over the things, they nitty gritty it all.
Yeah, we do reviews and stuff as well, but it's all about the conversation.
Right. I mean, we only do it like twice a week over here.
Yeah.
Everything else is the other shows.
5 days a week.
Yeah, I want to be on Elseworlds Exchange.
Well, you should
sometime.
come on.
I don't think I've ever been on Elseworlds Exchange.
You have been. He has not.
Yeah,
Okay.
the one time we were scheduling it, you did it like right between 2 cons.
It was
And
just
I
impossible.
Yeah, you were like, "You're gonna be free on Wednesday." I'm like, "I think I will be." And then you hit me
And
and
then
like,
no.
"I'm exhausted."
Yeah. No, it was a bad time. So
Yeah,
we'll work
it was
out.
it was a really bad
Yeah,
time.
I want to be on Elseworlds Exchange.
You should be. It's a great show.
And before anybody asks, his big show is called The Back Issues, and we did not plan to do it while he's here, which is
We never do. Every time I come out here, I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do it.
But sadly, while Rob will not be at Philly Keystone Comic-Con, Dan and I will with Gary, so we'll be in a Back Issues.
Hey,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
You could do a Back Issues in the car. Film you and Rob while
that'd be
driving up to the airport. The car issues.
Yeah.
Car issues?
Yeah. I like that. That's a show now.
Car back issues?
Copyright Comic Pop.
Yeah, you could call it you could call it like fans and cars getting
Carmix.
comics. Carmix? No, just rip it off. Just call it like
Yeah.
fans and cars getting comics.
Yeah.
And then
I look
you
forward to
just-
my
you bring up a
C&D
couple-
from Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, that's exactly.
He knows better now.
Assist.
But yeah, so what's next for DC?
Okay, so where are we at right now? And for those of you guys who don't know, I just had a recent interview with Scott Snyder. Everything that he revealed to me is in that video.
Yeah.
So I have no insider information. It was the coolest interview ever because he was like, I just want to talk with fans. This is where I can find my fans, and I want to just tell you guys what's going on, that I'm allowed to tell you guys what's going on.
Yeah.
Which has given me a lot for us to discuss now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because it's all out there.
Yeah.
And since you guys don't watch my channel, I can reveal it all to you.
Yeah. That's fair.
I mean, it seems like DC's in the transitionary period because they're moving away from Rebirth and they're going into DC Universe. So like the new wave of titles are coming out that are like basically the post-Rebirth landscape. Which honestly, I always kind of felt like Rebirth would run until Doomsday Clock ended. Which technically, I think it was supposed to.
I think that was the plan.
I think that was the plan. Okay,
Yeah.
I will say one thing he did not talk to me about at all was
Doomsday
Doomsday Clock.
Yeah.
So like I brought it up a couple of times, and his exact answer was, "That's Jeff Johns' thing."
That's
And Scott Snyder is not Jeff Johns.
That's a really good DC party line, by the way, because
Yeah.
anytime you have any questions for any creators that are of the top tier status, Scott Snyder, Jeff Johns, if you ask each of them about, or Bendis,
Yeah,
you ask
Grant
each
Morrison
of them,
was another one he wouldn't touch on.
Right, they don't talk about each other's stuff. So
Yeah.
if you asked Bendis about Doomsday Clock, he'd be like, "That's Jeff Johns' thing." If you ask Johns about like DC Metal, he'd be like, "That's Snyder's thing." You know,
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting because that might be kind of like the direction they're going in, which is let the creators do what they want and have less reliance on a cohesive universe. Like,
Yeah.
it's
But
less
I thought
about.
they tried that with DCU.
I think they did too, but I think they're trying it again.
But see, it depends on how they handle it. Because the problem that you had with DCU is you had so many conflicting stories going on.
Yes.
That was a problem they had. Like
some of the
Superman's the
stories
god of
didn't-
knowledge in Justice League, and then he's not even, or Batman's the god of knowledge in Justice League, and Bruce isn't even Batman in his own comic book. A lot
Yeah.
of times. So stuff like that create a problem.
Well, and what they need to do and what they've done before is just say like this story takes place between these issues, this issue, this
Well,
issue.
actually, so someone brought up in our Twitch chat
Yeah.
that in the interview we didn't talk about Tom King's run. We did briefly
Mm-hmm.
because once again, Scott Snyder's answer was when we were talking offline, that's Tom King's thing. So I didn't ask very much about it because he wasn't going to
you
reveal
knew it
anything.
wasn't going to go anywhere.
Right, but he did mention that one thing that they are really, really trying hard to do is that.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to make sure that the continuity, you can figure out where things plug in.
See, that's what I want. I
Yeah.
think everybody who reads and loves DC wants it to all fit.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
at least have the illusion of fitting. And the illusion of fitting is you say that this story that couldn't possibly happen during this big other story
Right.
is happening between these other stories.
Which is what they're doing for. So I guess what he said is going to happen because if you're reading Justice League 6,
Yes.
he got both his arms and legs are both broken. And for the next arc, apparently Scott Snyder said Batman's going to be in the Bat body cast, which he revealed a couple things on there. It's going to be really epic from the way he sounded. But he said that Tom King's going to make reference to it, but it's not going to affect the Tom King run.
Right. Like
He'll just reference.
There will
"Oh,
be
I was in
literally
that cast for
no-
these 6 months or something.
Yeah, he won't he be in the cast in any way.
Right.
It'll just be like he had to add a line. Just like I think that in Doomsday Clock, one of the last issues, when they had like the Court of Owls and the reference to Heroes in Crisis, I think that was an addition. I
Yeah.
think originally it was just what it was, and they were like, can we put 2 panels in here or just add another page that has that reference in there so that we can like stretch this out. And I think I think the DC's pretty good at that, where
Yeah,
they're just
and-
like, take
well,
something
they're-
that exists already, add a thing to make it make more sense in the larger
Well,
cohesive universe.
it's been my debate since the beginning. And the greatest example I had is when I felt like that we hit the point where this had to start happening.
Yeah.
Was when Secret Empire and DC Metal were coming out at the exact same time, just about. They like collided. Secret Empire was
Within a
wrapping
month
up.
of each other.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
Secret Empire was wrapping up, DC Metal was starting. And I was saying that DC Metal was proof, in my opinion, of what an event should do. You don't have to outright say, or like reveal tons of backstory. But if you give me the indications where it's all happening, I know I can follow it or I could ignore it. My biggest complaint was in Secret Empire, they found the Cosmic Cube in a tie-in and they barely referenced it. They were just like, oh yeah, we found this. And you're like, where? Where do I read that? How does that even exist?
Yeah,
DC
that was
Metal,
kind of a big plot point.
Right, and DC Metal had a very similar thing.
Yeah.
But they were like, it happened here. Go read if you're interested. But all you need to know is we have it.
Yeah,
But I feel like things like that were thrown in because Marvel wanted to wrap up Secret Empire as soon as they possibly could.
they also wanted to milk it
got.
as hard as they could too, though, because there's I think there were more tie-ins for Secret Empire than there were for DC Metal.
Oh, by a mile.
Oh, so watching the interview, one thing that Scott Snyder did to go on is, because I asked him about that. I told him, I was like, what I liked about DC Metal was how small and concise it was, how you only had one tie-in per week. But I also felt the back end, you needed more room because you put your Death of Red Death in the tie-in.
Yes.
I didn't agree with that. I told Scott Snyder that.
Yeah.
And he said he agreed. The problem they had with DC Metal was DC wanted a small, concise event. He wanted to do a bigger thing.
Yeah.
So that was like the compromise.
Yeah.
Because what they were concerned about was the Secret Empire situation, where you get halfway through your event and it wasn't selling.
That's a genuine concern.
Yeah.
But the issue why Secret Empire struggled had nothing to do with the story. It was when the story was written. If Secret Empire had been written like 15 years ago,
It would have been hailed as a huge masterpiece.
It would have been like one of the greatest Captain America stories ever told.
It wouldn't have been written by Nick Spencer. It would have been written by somebody else.
I think Nick Spencer did an amazing job.
I think he did too.
I think Nick Spencer's Spider-Man and even his Astonishing Ant-Man shows.
Yeah.
He's an amazing writer.
Definitely.
No, I agree with him
think
that. I feel the problem with Secret Empire, in my opinion, was it was too big for his britches. He wasn't ready to control an event.
I think he was perfect for it. I think it was the environment of when the story was released.
Well, I think that didn't help. What I feel like happened was he had a plan, he was ready to go, and then he was bombarded in one of those overloading stress kind of situations. Okay, I can't handle this anymore. I got everyone coming from me, all sides.
Yeah. Well, that's all speculation. I don't know.
It is all speculation.
I want to believe that like Spencer had this one idea and Marvel inflated it.
Yeah,
Because
and that too.
Yeah, and I think he's also like, I had this story. I didn't have enough story for you to have this many tie-ins.
Right.
So like, I can't control what happens in those tie-ins, and then those tie-ins also influence what my story is all about, or undercut what my story is. And so, what am I going to do here? So it's like, it's tough. We're going to have to do an interview with Nick Spencer to find out.
Maybe one day. I'm hoping to get more individuals on the show. I did reach out to Tom Taylor. I reached out to him because as soon as the Scott Snyder thing went up, someone said, "Oh, you should talk to him next."
Yeah.
And he responded with, "Sure, I'll do that."
Yeah.
And so I sent him a DM because we're both following each other. And I just I don't know if you actually know who I am, or if you just think I'm some weird,
or if you mean it.
like if you mean it, or if you were just being nice on Twitter or whatever. If you're interested, like we won't talk politics. Anything you don't want, I can cut out. Scott Snyder was just all one big thing, but I feel like creators they'd be worried they're going to reveal things.
Yeah.
It's like give them if you reveal something you don't want, that's fine. We'll pull it out. It's not a big deal, Yeah. But I sent that message to him. But I did open it with I don't know if you fully know who I am or if you're just following me because I tweet about injustice all the time. But here's what I'd like to do. So we'll see. He hasn't responded yet, but
Yeah, I don't know. Like the environment of the time of comics release impacts the comics themselves. Like imagine if God Loves Man Kills was released in 1969.
yeah.
And Kitty Pryde drops the N-bomb.
That would have been pretty amazing.
Yeah, imagine the backlash. That would have had a huge amount of backlash.
But it also would have been really relevant to its time.
It would have been, but just because
been,
it was relevant doesn't mean that people would appreciate its relevance.
I think it had as much of a seismic impact in the 80s as it did as it would have in the 60s. I think it actually would have been less well received if it was done today.
Oh yeah, definitely today.
But regardless of how well the event did or whatever, the concern of DC, because regardless of what happened with Secret Empire, it did do poorly in the back end of the sales.
Yeah.
And that was more DC's concern, according to him.
Yeah. And it was smart. What they did was smart. And I hope that DC Metal is an indication of DC learning from Marvel's and their own mistakes and going this is how we're going to do events for probably the foreseeable future.
Well, it seemed like Marvel learned that because then No Surrender came out. And that was perfect.
I love No Surrender.
That.
I actually really legitimately like it.
No, I do too. I have the hardcover here and everything.
Me too. And it's really and it's long and it's expansive and no tie-ins?
No tie-ins. If all the tie-ins are post afterwards, like what's going on with Quicksilver.
Quicksilver No Surrender, which is I'm not going to read it. Quicksilver.
No. Oh my God, you need to read Quicksilver No Surrender.
I hear it's good, but
it's
I'm just
really good.
I hate Quicksilver.
It's like the Speed Force or something like that.
Yeah, they added a
time stopped. It's not Speed Force.
Right.
Time has stopped. And his emotions are creating evil versions of himself in stopped time.
Okay. Huh. So it's a total Quicksilver story.
Well, it's a total Quicksilver story, and what makes it even more interesting is he's making more of these evils because only Scarlet Witch and Dr. Brother Voodoo, like the
Yes.
Yeah.
they're the only ones trying to get him, and then that drives like, where are the Avengers? If I
Right.
was Tony, you'd all be here. If I was Captain America, you'd all be here. I just get you and you. That's all I
Yeah.
get. So now he's getting more self-pity, making more of these evil things that are trying to disassemble his entire life. It's really good. It's a great
cool.
like introspective character development kind of a thing. And I love the turtle. The turtle's the best thing ever.
See, I told people like you get like I don't know where I stand on this, but I always thought that'd be like Son of M was proof that you could write a pretty good Quicksilver story.
Yeah. And
I also avoided
don't-
that one too because I was like, well, by House of M, I was done with all of them.
And I'm not even,
Yeah, a lot
I'm
of
not even
people
gonna
are.
lie. I was the one, like, as they announced Quicksilver, I'm like, who the hell cares?
Right? Who asked for this?
Who asked for this?
And the reality is, like, not many people, but they still made a good story.
Yeah, they made an amazing story. I love that Quicksilver story.
Check it out. But what's next for DC?
Yeah. Oh, so anyway, doubling back around. The way he said that all the current writers have all these plans for up to 100 issues, 50 issues. He's on Justice League for 50 issues, 50
Yes.
issue plan.
And we know King's on for 100 issues of
100
Batman.
issues, so there's 50 issues left.
And we
on
know
that.
Bendis ain't going nowhere.
Bendis ain't
Yeah,
going
he's
nowhere.
gonna write Batman until they fire him, or Superman rather, so they get
Superman.
rid of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got.
I mean, if I were
mean,
Bendis, I would ride that train as long as I could.
from what he had revealed, because he didn't outright say Bendis, but he said that's in somebody. I think he didn't, but he said it's in that other wheelhouse. You can assume who it'll be. That's going to take care of it.
Yeah.
But he says we got Superboy Prime coming. We got Connor Kent coming.
Yeah.
We got the whole Superman family returning. Like it looks like Bendis has a big plan for the whole family.
Yeah.
Scott Snyder was telling me that when he was prepping for the role, Bendis was finding all of these old comics that even he didn't know existed.
Right.
To learn the entire sprawling history of Superman and bring it all back in.
Okay.
Oh yeah, there's a massive amount of history. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a time that Superman split in half when he first encountered Red Kryptonite, and you had Clark Kent, and then you had Superman. I mean, there's a shit ton of history there.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, you've got Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane, like those were comics. Lois Lane actually sold right below Superman in Action for years and years and years.
Yeah.
It was incredibly popular. Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen was really, really popular. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff that Bendis could draw on
Yeah.
if he wanted to bring back classic Superman stuff.
And
God.
Scott Snyder even said, I feel weird. I feel weird if I were to just call him Scott, like
Yeah.
we've gotten to that level.
Yeah.
But I also feel weird just calling him Snyder. 'cause
Yeah,
then-
you feel disrespectful?
Right, then I feel
You can-
disrespectful.
you can use
but
the
I also
last name
feel
to
weird just
refer to
going,
him.
Scott Snyder.
Yeah.
Snyder.
That's I mean, everybody calls it Scott Snyder.
I feel like if we ever just like met in person, like
You'd be like,
at a
Scott
con-
Snyder, what's going on?
Hey,
What do you
hey,
want?
Scott Snyder, how you doing, buddy?
You'd be like, it's just Scott, buddy.
Yeah, what was that in? I was like on a TV show. They just always reference that like this character by their first and last name.
Yeah.
I know.
I find it weird now that I'm talking to some of these creators because we all reference them differently.
Right.
Like Scott Snyder is Scott Snyder. Tom Taylor is Tom Taylor.
Right, it's not Tom or Taylor.
It's not Scott. But Brian Michael Bendis is
Bendis.
Bendis. Like-
yeah.
But he's such a recognizable name.
no, I know, but it
And
feels
I think
weird.
people say Scott Snyder because if you say, hey, like I was talking to Snyder the other day, the first thing they're gonna think is Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I kind of.
But it reminds me of old military days where I was Potter.
Right.
Where are
Yeah.
you at, Potter? Hey, Sergeant Potter. It was
Yeah.
never.
It would never
Benny.
occur to me to call you that.
Right. It's so weird. Anyway,
Yeah.
that was just my brain just going.
Fair enough. It's funny. I was actually reading an interview with Bendis the other day, and he was talking about how the editorial and creative groups of DC, when he came in, and now that he's here, have kind of created this this idea of, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to get out of your way if you have an idea or you want to do something.
Yeah.
And that kind of scared me a little bit.
Well,
But that's the future, I
So,
think, of DC.
I mean, we're going to get to the discussion of what's next because
Yeah.
I think what we have to discuss is after the next 50. 'Cause
Right.
Everyone's got a plan for 50.
Yeah, if they all have plans for 50 to 100 issues, what's after that?
Yeah, but what he had said is it's on them if they mess up the continuity and they mess it up royally.
Mm-hmm.
Because even Brian Michael Bendis has been calling everyone. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? How are we going to make it connect?
That's
and
actually
things like
kind of
that.
amazing because
That-
I would
that
imagine he'd
actually
never
really-
do that.
Right.
Yeah,
Apparently,
exactly.
DC's higher
pretty
ups are all in constant communication so that what happens in one book is not ignored in another book, including Brian Michael Bendis. Apparently, everyone, I mean, and myself, I even brought it up to Scott Snyder in the thing. I'm like, everyone's concerned that he's just going to do his own thing.
That's what he
Yes.
always does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bendis always just did it.
Regardless of it looking that way, apparently he's at least been calling everyone to try and keep it within the continuity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Scott Snyder was saying, this next arc for Wonder Woman is going to set up what G. Willow Wilson's doing.
Okay.
Nice.
It's entirely lined up. Same thing with Aquaman, and I think it's Kelly Sue DeConnick doing that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited
They're
about
setting
that.
it up because they've worked it all out already.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna be sad to see Dan Abnett leave Aquaman.
Yeah, he's
But
been doing a really good job.
He's been doing
Yeah.
a pretty amazing
His
job.
run on Aquaman has been amazing. My complaint has been the art shifting. I think you guys said it
Yeah.
best on our review show yesterday where
Yeah.
they said Aquaman's one of those books you need to keep your top line artist on.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to sell the book.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
You can have
yes, there
crap.
are people who love Aquaman, but like, you really need people to be like, yeah, I know you don't care for Aquaman, but the art is killer.
How
See,
many
that
times
really
did I
is
review
it.
that book and I would say, like, this story was kind of subpar, but the art was spectacular.
Yes.
That's it, man. Like
Yeah.
the problem with Aquaman is you have the legacy of Aquaman riding seahorse and talking to fish working against you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to make a
You
compelling
have the
argument
premise of
on why.
Aquaman.
Yeah.
Just saddling him from
That's
greatness.
the thing. Like for me, like it's like reading a comic book is half the art.
Yeah.
Like half of the reason why I would read a comic is art. Like there have been comics that have been written, like for example, like Centuries written by Jeff Lemire.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, I'll read anything Jeff Lemire writes except that because the art just does not really do anything
Yeah.
for me.
Really?
So close the
I dig
book
the art
and
on
call it
Century.
a day.
There have been superheroes that I'm huge fans of, and I've dropped the book over the art.
Oh,
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah, and that's entirely how it is. I'm trying to think of like a great example recently of like one of my favorite superheroes, and I dropped it. Supergirl's new #1.
Oh, really?
I was super excited about that because I am actually a fan of Supergirl.
Yes.
She's one of those superheroes that can be done very, very well and very, very poorly.
Yeah.
And so I was excited for a new, fresh start to see what is this going to be. I was not a fan of the art at all, and I was like, oh, this. Even if this turns out amazing, it's
not
a
gonna
good
feel
chance
amazing.
you just lost me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's why I usually try to go back because sometimes art grows on me. Like Jay Lee's art, it took a long time for that to grow
It takes
on me.
That
it
did
takes
take some time.
Although
Yeah.
I will say though, when Jay Lee, like when I first came onto Jay Lee's work on like X Factor,
Yeah.
I was like, this is nuts.
But it did the
looking.
book really, really well.
It did,
Yeah.
but then like Batman vs Superman, or not versus, but Batman Superman from the New 52 when Jay Lee was on it, I was like, I see what you're doing, but it's not. It
I
doesn't
didn't like that one.
It doesn't
Yeah.
work for me. It didn't work for me. I think because it was like every page was a painting.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool, but like I'm reading a Batman Superman book, and I'm used to like the Ed McGuinness and Jeff Loeb Batman Superman book, where it's like just high flying superheroics and action
Yeah.
adventure. It's not quite as high art as Jay Lee wanted it to be.
It was super high art. And even the storyline for that one was kind of like an introspective. We're meeting our younger selves, and we're
Right,
gonna
and I was
explore
like,
ourselves. And I'm like,
alright.
that's
Yeah.
punch something, please.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Like I probably would not enjoy an Andrea Sorrentino Justice League book
Yeah.
Probably not.
because the story wouldn't reflect the art.
But it did amazing with Outsiders War. It looked amazing in Green Arrow's book.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
see, I have not read New 52 Green Arrow. Yeah,
I have
I've heard
Outsiders
it's,
War in there. I'm
I've
gonna
heard
hand
it's
it.
really good.
You need to read.
Yeah,
No,
I've heard it's super
just
good.
the out is Jeff Lemire adding a super amount of lore, and the art's amazing.
Yeah.
It's my favorite run other than Longbow Hunters, and
Yeah,
way
Mike
back
Grell.
in the day. Green
Apparently
Lantern,
they're referencing Longbow Hunters in the current Green Lantern.
How could they not? It's like-
somebody sent that to me. They were like, somebody sent me an email and they're like, so they're referencing Longbow Hunters in Mike in Green Arrow. So like, do you think they're going to cover it? And I'm like, I mean, they could, but it is CW.
Yeah.
So it is going to
Yeah.
be kind of gritty. Like I don't know if
It would be
anybody.
easy enough to do.
I'm going to give you the book. You need to read. DC sent me the hardcover book for that one
Yeah.
because they know that I'm a fan of that series. It is just incredible.
I mean, I don't know how CW could successfully adapt what's basically an adult-rated Green Arrow.
You just take out
story.
you just tone it down a little bit. You know?
But see, they don't even have Black Canary anymore. So you
That's the
can't
problem.
you can't show that whole side of like what happened to her.
You need Black
'Cause,
Canary.
yeah, you kind of need that to make the significance of Longbow Hunters. Yeah, but
ain't
yeah,
reading
no,
that.
it's like the art usually reflects the story. Like
Yeah.
you read Jim Chung art and it's like okay, or you look at Jim Chung art and it reflects the story that's like epic as hell.
Yeah.
Like man, shit's popping off. You look at Andrea Sorrentino art and it's like okay, so this is like really dark and gritty.
Yeah.
And you look at Jay Lee's art and it's like this is like really melancholy. Like you like the art has to reflect the story.
There's very few artists that I've read that no matter what they draw, I feel it fits. Like Jim Lee, I feel, could draw anything and you'd be like, I'm on board. I
Yeah,
can dig
but
that.
he's adaptive.
Yeah.
If you ever looked at his early work from Image, I'm trying to think of the name of it. I think it's Death Blow. It's really, really bad.
Is it? But he's also been around for like 20, 30 years.
but the art is amazing.
Oh, he's
And
been
it's-
around longer than 23 years.
Yeah. But like
Yeah.
I was saying like
He's been
20 to
around-
30.
No, he's been around closer to 30 years.
But
Yeah.
the art on Death Blow is so, as you said, melancholic. Like it's all just like heavy inks, and it's black and white with splashes of color, and it looks nothing like Justice League when he jumped on New 52 or his Batman work. It looks so different. The dude can do it.
Yeah.
And
Steven Sedgwick is another good one.
Yes.
That's like that.
Yeah.
No matter what he draws, I will read it. When they put him on Aquaman, I was like, this is the greatest decision you have ever made, DC.
Yeah.
And then like 3 issues in, I'm like, and now we're going to completely go in the opposite direction. And I'm like, that was the worst decision you have ever made,
was he the one that had
DC.
like the color pencil kind of art? It looked like color penciled art? because I know there was a point in Aquaman where I was like, dude, this art is on point.
Yes,
And
I know
was
what
like,
you're talking about.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this art is badass. See, I feel like Jim Lee's best art was like 92,
X-Men?
93.
That is
X-Men.
Steven Sedgwick's art run.
Yeah,
Yes, that's what I'm
really
talking
good.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that art looks amazing.
It's great.
But yeah, I feel like Jim, like I wouldn't say his best. I would say my favorite era
favorite,
of Jim Lee
yes.
art is I mean, Jim Lee's obviously gotten better over the years, but I would say like 92, 93 is like because it just screams X-Men, man.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's just
The X-Men have
you know?
actually, it's the best and worst thing that ever happened to the X-Men because no one will ever forget
Yeah.
how good it looked and
Yeah.
how different it was.
The
And
cover for X-Men Volume 2, #1.
Yeah.
I remember those variants that spanned like 10 covers.
I bought them all because
Yeah,
I
it
thought they
was-
were all different stories, and then
Yeah.
my comic book retailer had to be like, those are all the same book with different covers, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense.
But it was so
He's like, no, it
cool.
does because I just sold you with the same book 17 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they adapted that version of the X-Men into the animated series, which cemented it further into the culture.
Well, I always
You'll
thought
never
it was
forget
more,
it.
I thought it was more like X Factor. Well, X Factor and X-Men. It was Louise Simonson's X Factor, Louise and Walter Simon's X
The
Factor
X-Men
with
animated series.
Yeah, with-
it's that image of the X-Men. It's Beast. It's that Gambit. It's that.
oh
Rogue,
it
it's
is
that
with the
Jean
stories
Grey.
that they were basing it
Oh
off
yeah,
of. With the old
absolutely. I'm just
X
saying,
Factor
but the
stories.
visuals of that show are from Jim Lee's X-Men.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it's God, man. I want to go watch X-Men the animated series now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
But the
so
future
I
of
feel
DC.
Like,
Let's hit that
of
for the
DC.
next topic then,
Okay,
so-
so finishing Robert Venditti's run on Green Lantern, kind of going with that for example. Like that one caps out at 50, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, like, as far as from what I understand, they're ending Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're ending Green Lanterns, and they're going to merge them into one.
Yeah, which is such a
Grant
good
Morrison
idea.
doing it.
I think the future of what they're doing is I think they're going to go for familiarity and new. Because one of the things that I have to reconcile with all the time is like I sit down and I say like because I was thinking about this the other day while I was driving home, and I was thinking about like you know some of the things that Marvel's done, some of the things that DC's done. I'm like, okay, but I'm tired of reading some story about Iron Man's armor's getting stolen because I've seen that before. But if you're new, you haven't.
Right.
And so I think
that's
that-
always been my argument against
that's-
that. Every comic is someone's first
Somebody's
comic. And I
first
feel
comic.
like, especially in the last 10 years, a lot of these are people's first
Oh yeah,
comics.
especially on the DC side with New 52.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them, like most people, like they never read Longbow Hunters. They know of
Yeah.
the Death of Superman, probably never read it. Most people probably never read Nightfall.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of these really old stories that people know of because they're talked about so often, but may never have read.
Yeah.
And so when you look at that, my thought is if they're going to go for familiarity and they're going to go for something new, I think that Hal Jordan's going to become Parallax. I think the means by which that happens is going to be different, and the end result is going to be different.
Okay.
Like I don't think it's going to be him trying to destroy the universe because
No.
that was DC just trying to fix all the mistakes they made after Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
But there's no need to do that.
No.
Because they have Dr. Manhattan to fix all the problems they made. So
I hope they use it.
yeah, I hope they use that too. So I think that it'll turn out because I mean I would love to see a scenario because you have the entire like whole run of Jeff Johns to build on. So imagine you have like basically a reworked War of Light.
Yeah.
Except it's them fighting Parallax instead of the Black Lantern.
Your pitch is nostalgia.
Yeah, nostalgia. Yeah, that's exactly
Well,
it.
it's funny
You know?
because that exact argument. I mean, yesterday we were talking, and you mentioned the JSA. You want to see that classic JSA, and you're right. I get thinking that because I like the Earth 2 JSA, the revamped versions. But at the same time, you're right. I do miss the helmet, the
Yes.
discs. I do miss Alan Scott. Alan Scott. I do,
Alan Scott.
I do miss all these old characters. But at the same time, I really liked that Earth 2 run where everyone died and it was like traveling
Yeah.
through space and all that crazy stuff.
It was a really good. I mean, it was cool. It was a good
Yeah.
run. Like see, I didn't read it when it first came out. I didn't read it until you said you should go check this out. And then I'm on issue #1, and Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman die. And I'm just like, okay, so this is badass. And so like then I immediately get in and start.
That's a
reading
good
the
way
rest of it.
to, for the record, if you didn't know, Tom Taylor wrote that as well.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
In my opinion, Tom Taylor shines when there's no continuity for him to mess with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like everybody can die.
Yeah, right.
Like what's the worst way for everyone to die? Well, Steppenwolf kills them all, and that's it. So I mean, it's a super cool thing. But to me, there's something about JSA, and I think that kind of goes to like how much I love Alex Ross art.
Yeah.
Because I look at Alex Ross art, and you look at how he draws the Justice League, like that poster in there, and it's like, well, superheroes weren't like
That is not a poster.
Well,
that is a piece of
yeah,
art.
the
That
piece
is
of art,
canvas.
the
a
painting,
lithograph.
the canvas painting, whatever.
I'm sorry, Rob, but if you can't be like, I want to be artistic, but look at those posters.
Posters. But no, like you look at Alex Ross art, it's like, okay, superhero, like their moral compass isn't ambiguous. There's the good guys, the bad guys.
Yeah.
And the good guys beat the bad guys. And that's it. And so they're like with the JSA, it's kind of like a legacy of heroes for days gone by. And so I look at things like Jay Garrick and I look at Alan Scott. But for me, I desire that because it makes me nostalgia for an age of comics I wasn't part of.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't reading DC back then. Like
I guess,
wasn't,
so that's still new to you.
yeah, I wasn't
Right.
reading DC in the 90s, really. I wasn't reading it, certainly wasn't reading it in the 80s, and even wasn't really even reading it in the 2000s until New 52.
Yeah.
So then people say, go back and read Jeff Johns' JSA run. And like I read that stuff and it's like, okay, so like Alan Scott and the Starheart, you know, and then eventually like that goes to Kyle Rayner, which explains why he's just uber powerful as a Green Lantern. And it's like all these things, and it's like, okay, but like I want to read that kind of stuff now. But I want to read it updated for a modern era. And so like that's the reason why I want to see those kind of things. Like people talk about how amazing Legion of Superheroes was, and it's like, okay, well I want to read that, but like updated for the modern era.
Yeah.
So, and plus I'm just kind of getting burned out on reading the same characters all the time.
Oh, I mean,
in DC's lineup.
I think it's less that you don't want to see Iron Man's. It's funny you mentioned that because it hasn't even happened, I don't think, recently at all.
Well, there was a tie-in for Armor Wars, but before that, it's happened off and on the
No,
first,
I know what you're saying. It has happened off and on repeatedly.
Yeah.
I just find it funny that that's your reference, and it actually hasn't happened in, I think, like a year and a half.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I mean, Armor Wars happened. There was Titanium Man, which is the crappy Russian version. I mean, it's happened over the years where like Armor Wars was the first time that someone like Justin Hammer, no, what was it? Somebody sold it to Justin Hammer.
Yes.
And then Justin Hammer dispersed it among the villains. But like that happened before, or whoever it was that wanted to buy it. Like that was the first big time that happened. And then that was so popular, it just happened occasionally.
Right.
Yeah.
Every now and then. So there hasn't, I mean, ever since the original Armor Wars, there hasn't been a big thing like that. But those are stories that I've read. Like
Yeah.
Tony Stark's alcoholism was like kind of culminated in a Demon in a Bottle, and then was just sort of a trend that went on for like 40 years.
I know, and
so
I don't like that because it keeps coming back over
keeps
and
coming
over
back,
and
yeah.
over. And
Like-
in my opinion, by repeatedly bringing it back, it shows that you can never get past mistakes in your past.
Right.
Yeah, 30 years later, Tony Stark is still not just, oh, I shouldn't have a drink because I have this history. It's Tony Stark is now drinking again, and it's an exact same repeat problem,
Yeah.
which everyone agrees that he passed on from. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that alcoholics don't have problems. I've got a history with alcohol myself, but at the same time, you are capable of moving past.
Yes.
Not everyone is, and maybe Tony Stark can't, but there's that
I
capability.
always liked the element of Tony Stark's character that he was an alcoholic and he doesn't drink anymore.
Right.
But he did.
Yeah.
And so it was great. Like you'd actually have, every time like the artist would pay attention, you'd have the scenes where like they're celebrating and they're all having champagne. And he has a champagne glass full of water.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's nice. Like, no,
It's
look
just
at
a nice
that.
way to move on.
Where
He's
like
moved
Stark is
on.
an adult who like made decisions and chose to not do that anymore. And he's like, I can celebrate with my friends, but I'm also still an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And I will relapse if I don't mitigate
I
it.
mean, he had the the de-aged Tony Stark who had a point where he didn't drink because
Because he was too young.
he was too young.
Yeah, but I think it's after Superior Iron Man that he was
is.
like, ah.
Well, that was the whole thing. Is because you had Superior Iron Man. He immediately picked it back up.
Yeah.
And in the story,
And I think in Fear Itself he also picked it back up. But he did it to spite
did it in
Odin.
Secret
yes, he did.
Empire.
He did it despite Odin. Like,
He
he
did it
he's
in
like,
Secret Empire, which is the stupidest part because he was a blue
he was a hologram.
hologram.
Yeah, in Fear Itself, he's
right.
like, I'll give you the one thing I don't have, which is like my sobriety.
That
the one
killed
thing I don't
me.
want to give up.
Like that
Yeah.
was the moment where I'm like, oh, they're gonna do it. They're gonna make him an alcoholic.
They're going to make him alcoholic again. But that was because even if you look at the publishing side, like what was it? Demon in a Bottle was written in the 80s, and then 25 years later, Secret Wars happens. Or I'm sorry, not Secret Wars. Civil War happens, and like he gets up on a podium and says, "I'm Tony Stark and I'm an alcoholic."
Yeah.
It's been 25 years publishing side. Why is it taking this? Like,
Yeah.
But I like that. I like that moment.
It is a cool thing. It's just it took 25 years for a guy to admit he's alcoholic, which is something
He
to be
did it.
said
No,
about
he
that, but-
he was using that as a framing device to be like, I've suffered addiction, and he's using it as a microcosm for the bigger picture.
Yeah, I
he also
understand
says
that.
that in the end of a Civil War Frontline, where he says like, I know that I'm doing the right thing because throughout all this stuff, I never took a drink.
Oh yeah,
Like,
and
that's a really cool moment.
Well, no, it was it was Ben Urich who yelled at him and said, "But that doesn't. Nobody really cares because like
Right.
what you've done is screwed up everything else."
Oh, yeah,
around it."
exactly.
So yeah, Sally Floyd was the one who yelled at Captain America.
Yeah, and was like, don't you know what MySpace is? Get with the
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
loser. And you're like,
Well,
get out of here,
So
Sally.
the reason I was making a joke, but I mean, you guys had a great discussion. I don't want to interrupt it.
No,
The
yeah,
reason I
it's-
made a comment about that I find it funny that there's actually an example of what you're talking about happening in Batman right now. Now I don't know if the story's going to go in a different direction because it started out very good. So we had in the Detective Comics with James Tynion, we had the Victim Syndicate, which were the people that got injured by Batman while he was doing other things. Okay, and that was a whole plot point repeatedly happening over and over and over.
Yep.
Brian Edward Hill, the current writer for the new run,
Yeah.
was setting up a brand new villain who had a similar thing that many villains do, but it was like your sidekicks are making you weak. this is what's making you not Batman.
Oh, death of the family?
Yeah, Death of the Family.
Woof. Don't
a
do it
constant
again.
thing, and it was okay. He was setting up in a new direction, and since Death of the Family is old, I kind of had you. Okay,
Yeah.
this is new for a new generation.
Sure.
Not everyone has seen this kind of a story, and he's taking it in its own direction, focusing more on Cassandra and focusing more on Black Lightning.
Right,
And it
okay.
was like Black Lightning trying to lead Batgirl and Cassandra, and Batgirl fighting against it, being like, "Oh no, I'm old enough." It was a good dynamic. We just got the reveal of who the villain was.
Black Lightning or Batwing?
No, Black Lightning. He's in the book right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Batman went out to get him because he wanted someone who wasn't affected by everything going on in Gotham.
And worked with him in The
Does
Outsiders.
that just happen? Because I feel like I'm pretty caught up
2
on
or 3
Batman.
issues.
Oh, maybe I'm not as
It was
caught up
after
on
when
it.
James Tynion's run ended.
Yeah.
They had this weird like single issue horror
Yeah.
story,
Oh, okay.
and then Brian, I want to say it's Brian Edward Hill. I think that's
you're
his
right.
name. Yeah, he picked up the run, and it started out really good. The villain's known as Karma. That's the one that I was in. and he
That's the
killed me
one,
in
yeah.
page 2.
Who is Karma? Okay, yeah, I haven't read that one yet.
But Batgirl's in that, and she's been working with Black Lightning. I forget the reasoning, but Batman wanted Black Lightning to lead the team.
Yeah.
He's older, he's got more experience. Batgirl's doing her usual thing. No, I'm Batgirl, I know what I'm doing. She's been manipulating Black Lightning because she's like, no, I know Batman. I know what he really wants you to do.
Right.
And it's been a cool dynamic that's been going on, but we just got the reveal of Karma, and Karma is a villain that was affected by Batman doing other things. And you're just like, we just did that Victim Syndicate, and
Yeah.
you're pulling from Death of the Family, and I get you're kind of merging the two storylines, and half of that's new for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But we just did Victim Syndicate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, we just had the reveal this could go in a different direction.
Yeah.
But if it just continues in this direction, it's like,
Right.
that was 30 issues ago.
Right, but if every unique new villain you create is circus themed and fill in a vat of acid,
Yeah.
like come on.
And his face has been affected by acid.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
my joke is just like, you can tell the Joker's origin like 16 different times and have 16 different villains, but like at the end of the day, it comes from a tired and retread origin
Yes.
point, and it's like
It looks
come
like
on.
a lot of old storylines kind of being thrown together to try and make a new one.
Yeah. Well,
Which,
that's like-
which I think is working.
Yeah.
Other than the villain's origin. Because that's just too fresh. It's
Yeah.
too new. So going back to what you were saying, like, I do agree. I do think the stories from 10 years ago need to kind of come back and be updated for modern age.
Yeah.
I think that these companies need a cutoff point. If it's been done in 10 years, you can't do it.
Right.
If
Yeah.
it's been done in 20 years, you're free to completely rehash it if you want.
Exactly.
But like have these windows, like it can't
Yeah.
be within the last year, it can't be within the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Has to be within like a good amount of time.
But here's the thing. Like you can, and that's why I think when the question becomes what's next for DC, I think that's when things shift. Because like one of the most significant moments in the history of Batman is when Bane breaks his back. So then what if we took that and we said, okay, basically like Batman's paralyzed again. Like Batman loses the ability to walk. But
Yeah.
it's not because of Bane. It's because like Red Hood goes too far.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
something happens. And there's a conflict between the two of them. And Red Hood's like, okay, look, like the reason why I will win this fight is because I'm willing to do things that you aren't. You've got a moral compass. I don't.
Yeah.
I do whatever it takes to win. And organizes essentially like you take the concept of Hush, led by Red Hood, which in turn leads to a final conflict between him and Batman, and by whatever manner or whatever means, he paralyzes Bruce Wayne. And maybe there's remorse, maybe there's not. But what you've done is you've taken a character of Red Hood, who everybody loves, you put him in a fight with a character they want to see him fight the most. And yeah. And then
I
you go.
don't know if you're aware that's a Red Hood tattoo.
Oh yeah,
and then
It's
you
the shape
grab
of his bat.
his bad. Yeah.
and then you grab the elements of Hush and Nightfall, you merge them together, and you've essentially told a wholly unique story that experienced readers recognize, new readers don't, but everybody's invested.
Exactly.
So-
I feel, and like I said, that's what I feel like Brian Edward Hill's doing right now, except for the, like we just did Victim. If
Right.
you had given Karma a different origin, you had me. Like I could recognize where this came from, but at the end, it was a brand new story. I'm
Yeah.
okay. But by doing the recent thing, it's like, Dan cracked a joke about it. Karma's from the Victim Syndicate, he just didn't make the cut.
Right.
He's one of the leftovers.
See, that's a great way to reconcile that, though.
That could be, yeah. He tried out for the Victim Syndicate and they were like, no, you're too bad.
Right.
Like,
or I mean, you could literally spin it off and just branch them off and just say like they didn't go far enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
But throw in a line. And maybe they
Yeah.
will. Maybe that's the easy fix.
Yeah.
It is 2
You know,
3
Batman's
issues
like,
in, so.
why didn't you join up with the Victim Syndicate? And he's like, they were too soft.
Yeah.
They were not willing to go far enough.
Or
Yeah.
maybe, or are they using the Victim Syndicate now?
No, the Victim Syndicate's done. That was kind of James Tynion's
Right,
thing.
right.
That
No,
was
but
a-
I mean, like they were dispatched or whatever.
Yeah, they're gone.
Because he could just kill them all and be like, no, I killed them.
That could work too.
Yeah.
There's a number of reasons
I am
why
the
you
Victim
could make
Syndicate.
that reconcile and keep going forward.
Yeah.
But if you just maintain the, like I said, we don't know where the story's going yet.
It's true. So,
He
but
could
it does
be doing
feel
that.
familiar.
Right
and-
now, it feels very familiar. Right now, it feels like the big reveal was the Victim Syndicate reveal.
Yeah.
And it's like,
didn't earn that.
I will say though, it did lead to a really awesome Batman fight though. Karma's tearing him apart because Karma has the ability to read your mind, so he knows what Batman's doing.
Right.
So then he's tearing Batman down, and then he gets to a moment where Karma's like, You're racing. Your thoughts are racing, Batman. You can't keep track of what you're doing. And Batman's like, no, that's so that you can't track what I'm doing. And he slaps a rocket back to him and he shoots him into the sky.
Nice.
That's actually pretty badass. Batman always wins, guys. Remember that.
Yeah.
Because apparently he has a detachable rocket pack in the utility belt.
The utility belt, yeah. Superman gave it to him. That's what he uses.
He builds those. He has those all over the place.
Yeah, no, I think that's the future of DC. I think the initial legwork on Rebirth is done. I think DC basically with Rebirth they were saying, okay, so the way things after Flashpoint things were supposed to go back to normal, but they didn't. And Dr. Manhattan's the reason why. Read Doomsday Clock to find out what happened that led to that. But like in the interim, we're basically bringing back the universe that you know. Yeah. And I think most of that's done. I mean, you got Wally West back, you have Donna Troy and the Titans back. You've got the Legion of Superheroes who were on their way. Shazam's back. We only really seen him once, but he's going to be in Doomsday Clock.
Jeff Johns has all that stuff. Yeah. I wonder if 50 issues that should be done by the end of this year.
Yeah.
I mean, because like Justice League's 50 issues, and that so we're literally looking at 2019 and onward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if, like, regardless of what happens to Doomsday Clock's delays and how it's going to affect things and things like that, Doomsday Clock's doing what you just said.
Yeah.
Here's Jay Garrick. Here's the JSA. Here's Shazam. Here's the Legion.
Yeah.
Yes, they are back. They're doing old stories again, but you don't know them. That kind of an attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it could just be that, like, once it's said and done, then Superman's like, look, if you can't fix everything, Dr. Manhattan, then at least give people their memories back.
Yeah.
And everybody remembers everything. Which is good. That could very well be one of the things that feeds into the finale of a Flash War, when Wally's like, I remember everything.
Yeah.
Because him recalling everything is happening as Dr. Manhattan's giving him right of their memories back.
Yeah.
And they couldn't spoil that because that's what's going to happen in Doomsday Clock. So it's entirely possible that those things could work, and everything returns, everybody remembers who they are, and then suddenly from there it picks up. Really, the only way you're going to know, because Doomsday Clock is so far out from being done, it'll be the end of the year before.
It's 3 months right now. 3 months apart, aren't they?
Yeah.
I got the email from DC. The next one is September.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they sent me the book. They're like, hey, can you review Doomsday Clock, the latest issue? And they're like, we're going to put it out right as, I think it's 7?
Yeah.
Well, no, the most recent one just came out 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was 6.
So it's 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
So are they? I guess they're going back to monthly.
It can't be.
I know.
No, the next one's coming out, like, I think at the end of September, like the 26th or something.
So we're kind of in a weird, like, it's still 2 months. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they asked me for the review, and they're like, we just need it by the end of August because we're going to put it out with the new one, which is coming out sometime in September.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
But that's. I mean,
but still, if you go every 2 months, we're going into next year with Doomsday Clock.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We are. No.
Yeah.
That's the most frustrating part is, like, these 50, like, maybe it could be that they were like, can you make it 50? Like, can you go 50 to 200 issues? Because Doomsday Clock won't end until 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it. Because in all honesty, when Tom King started, did we hear it was 100 issues? I think very early on we did.
I don't think he said it right away. I think he said it like when people. I remember him like really towing the 100-issue line when everyone started complaining.
Yeah.
No, I remember him bringing up 100 issues when they got married in issue number 50.
Yeah,
And
like
I know he brought it up
Catwoman
again
left
there.
him.
Yeah,
he brought it up earlier than that.
I don't remember him
that.
saying, like, I want to say it was like at least by I Am Bane, if not later.
I think it was when he proposed.
Yeah.
I think because then he was towing that 100-issue line at that point.
I think that's exactly what it was.
Because everyone's like, what are you going to do with this?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, he's like, oh, I've got 100 issues planned.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Which, I mean, given the direction some of the titles have going, where it seems like they're kind of killing time.
Yeah. So it could be that the future of DC has already been written and they've already planned it, and it was supposed to be this year, but because of Doomsday Clock, it can't be.
They have to push it
So
back.
it's just like you're going to get some fun, cool, nostalgia stories, and then you'll see the James.
I will say I do like the stories having these, like the latest Batman one. As good as it was as exploring Batman's character with Tom King, and I know you disliked it. That's
I know. I mean, like it's about the Lee weeks are friggin' rocked though.
But what I'm saying is, as much as what I liked
It's about Batman right now.
It's Batman. You could take it or leave that story.
Yeah.
There's
you
nothing
don't
that-
need it. It's
It's a filler.
yeah, total filler.
And everyone knows I hate filler, but what I hate is filler in a story.
Yes.
I don't like not getting to the point because we decided to take a sidetrack of Barry going to get a milkshake.
Right.
I like just doing our story.
Yeah.
And I kind of liked the 3-issue concise, like little mini series.
I like those in Batman, especially because usually it involves like a detective story or a gritty crime story. Like because Batman's a AAA selling title, he's got to be in every event. He has to fight gods. But at the end of the day, Batman's a crime fighter
Yeah.
who deals with murderers. The best Batman story should be like an SVU episode. You know, like
And that's one thing I have liked about what Tom King has done. He's kept him on that ground level.
Yeah.
Has Batman found anything huge in Tom King's run?
no, it's all Bane.
Yep, Bane's the biggest thing.
Bane, and he's been manipulating things.
Yeah.
Right.
And I guess Clayface when he went crazy. But
Yeah,
aside
but that
from
was
that was
a
a
detective.
detective.
Like
Oh, that was a detective,
King's
that's right.
approach to Batman is not like it's not
Very
that he's like
grounded.
Yeah, he's not like metaphorically everything like Grant Morrison would, nor is he like
It's like
enduringly
he's letting
epic.
Scott Snyder do that in Justice League.
Yes.
He's
Yeah,
like,
it's like-
in Justice League, Batman's going to shrink down and be inside of Superman's bloodstream and
Right.
fight against Lex Luthor out in space against the Oracles or whatever they are.
Which,
Right,
by the way, oh my God, dude, Justice League.
Great issue.
Oh my, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, I am so okay. It was interesting reading Tom King's, James Tynion's League of Doom.
Yeah.
The Return of the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, that filler
Yeah,
issue in the
that
Justice League
filler
run.
issue.
Yeah.
Which is good, by the way.
Yeah, dude, like picking back up, man, dude, Scott Snyder's Justice League is just retardedly good, because like it's like dude, it is
is good.
stupid good.
I dig it.
Because I think so far it's been a bit of a struggle, because looking back at Brian Hitch's run, while it was enjoyable, it seemed like it was just filling time.
I didn't care for it.
And then you look at Christopher Priest's run, and it was kind of hard to follow.
Christopher Priest's run was hard to follow. Brian Hitch's run was killing time. I did bring that up. And Scott Snyder wouldn't talk bad about any previous runs, obviously.
No, he's friends with them. He knows
But
them.
because I said my biggest complaint was I liked Brian Hitch's run, but the problem is it didn't reflect anything.
Right.
The whole run felt like it was Elseworlds.
Mm-hmm.
Because it ended with kids that we will never see again.
Big time.
Yeah.
Well, unless some other writer or Brian Hitch wants to use them.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
but I doubt they will.
Yeah,
Because
there's
that's a
no
timeline
way.
that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
That is kind of the weird thing. Brian Hitch's Justice League run doesn't feel like the current Justice League.
No.
Yeah,
Like,
not
it
at
doesn't
all.
feel like it's part of what's
It almost feels like he had that
going on.
pitch like when they were working on the New 52.
Yeah.
And he dusted it off.
And then just rolled it in.
That would have been great at the New 52 because we were still questioning what the timeline was and everything. Then you could have, well, here's kids. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Here's the timeless and whatever.
That would've been cool.
But yeah, no, I mean the only, not really the complaint, because I'm kind of dumb. So the only thing that I struggle with Scott Snyder's Justice League are like all the metaphors and like all the dialogue, and
Yes.
it's like
It's a lot.
It's a lot to take in a singular issue.
It's a lot. But issue 6, I think, finally like paid it off.
Yeah.
Because it felt like it felt like a lot of padding until you got
Yeah.
to it, and you're like, oh, okay, it all kind of culminates.
Yeah, that's
it all
what-
locks into place.
That's what I love so much about issue number 6, because issue number 6 boiled it down to the fact that it's like, okay, Lex Luthor's doing this because his basic philosophy is, of what point is doing anything impactful if you're not alive to see it?
Yes.
So that's the only reason he's doing this. Is because like he wants people to he wants to be there, wants to see it happen.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of dig about it. And that's why I think sometimes with Snyder, I think it's easier to read it all in trade.
Yeah.
Than like individually.
Yeah.
Because then it's just kind of like, okay, this is kind of difficult. But that's one thing I am.
Well, because it comes out every other week, I'm doing really good with keeping track.
yeah,
of it.
This was
Yeah.
a monthly book.
I can
it'd
tell
be
you
a
right
lot
now,
harder.
if that was a monthly book,
Oh,
I would
no.
have dropped it.
It would have
and
been
waited for it
rough.
to wrap.
Yeah.
But thank God for Jorge Jimenez's art, because that thing keeps the pace.
Oh my God, yeah, it is super cool. But that's what I love about this, because I was reading through that and I was like, oh my God, all this makes sense. So everything that's happened here, like it just happens to be some artifact left the source wall and crash landed on Earth.
Yeah.
It's just the only reason why Lex Luthor took over the body of Superman, and why Joker took over the body of Batman, and why the entire Legion of Doom has been recreated.
Yep.
Is because Lex Luthor's like, I want to be a bad guy and I want to do bad guy shit.
Yeah.
But I want to be here to see whatever happens.
Exactly.
happen. So like, I'm gonna do this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now that said, I am still very upset and sad about Lex Luthor being a bad guy.
Me too.
I think he was much better when he was a hero.
I don't think it was
as
better,
Much
I
as
think it was
hate
just a-
this trope.
I'll
as
take
much as I
it.
hate this trope, I would have actually preferred if we kept good guy Lex Luthor and evil Lex Luthor came out of the other timeline.
Yes.
We've
But
seen
you can't have two Lexes running around.
and
could.
that's the trope that we wouldn't have been able to deal with.
well, they
They've
could, but
done
they couldn't-
it.
They couldn't keep it for a long time.
They did it in Infinite Crisis, and it was
But could
ended
you
a great
imagine?
payoff.
Could you imagine eventually bad guy Lex Luthor killing good guy Lex Luthor? The whole
Absolutely.
battle is between the two
See,
of them.
that would be cool.
And
That's what I'm-
eventually good
that's the
guy
only
has
way
to
it
fight
could
him.
end.
And
Yeah.
then good guy Lex Luthor sacrifices himself for
But
Superman.
that's what I'm saying. Like your whole stand. I mean, they did have two Lex Luthors during Infinite Crisis, but the problem is Alexander was killed by Joker.
Yes,
It's like you wouldn't let me into your Legion.
but really, he was killed by Lex Luthor,
Well,
who
Lex
used
Luthor-
the Joker as
yeah,
a
he
weapon.
used the Joker as
and
a
that's the
Joker,
thing.
yeah.
Like, I would like to see like pre-Crisis Lex or pre-Flashpoint Lex Luthor show up and go like, just put on his suit and be like, like dressed like Superman. What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like I wanted that.
I could see. Okay, I could see that. I could see them doing like a Hush type storyline, where like pre-crisis Lex Luthor is somehow back and is operating from the shadows the entire time,
Right.
And is systematically working to destroy everything that Lex Luthor has built.
But then again, we
and
don't
then
even
realize
know.
this is past self.
We don't even know if they're pre-Flashpoint or post-Flash. Like they're all the same characters.
Yeah. Okay. I hate to do this because I feel like
No,
it's a
it's
really good
true.
conversation, but we have a super tight schedule today.
Yes.
To try and ram in everything. So, closing thoughts on this future for DC. I feel like this whole episode's just been a lot of discussion of the direction of comic industry.
It's true.
Nostalgia. Like,
Nostalgia.
I like that.
I agree with that. I
phrase.
think, and
Nostalgia.
with how strong the audience has received Wall-E, how strong people want Shazam back, how strong it is to see Batman back in year one costume. I think it's time. I think DC has been away from the classics long enough, and I feel like Rebirth was like dipping their toe in.
Yeah.
To see, well, are you going to want this?
Yeah.
or-
Do we really like? Do we make a big enough new audience, or do we need to go back?
Yeah. And I feel like going to nostalgia is a great idea at this point.
Yeah.
I will also throw out an honorable mention for the Black Label line. I think that if it's successful and if the original graphic novel format works, I think they'll roll out with more.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be the way that they keep weary creators who are still good but not interested in working on like the month-to-month story in the DC roster.
Oh, I think it'll definitely succeed. I think things
I think
like
it's a great
Batman
idea.
White Knight. I think things like Batman Sins of the Father.
Yeah.
I think that like
that Nightwing New World Order
yeah,
book.
New World Order. I think things like Mr. Miracle. You know,
Yeah.
so I think that these
Black Label,
mini
Black
and
Label.
maxi series have easily proved that if the story is compelling enough, people will buy OGNs
Totally. Oh, yeah.
strictly on characters. So I think that Black Label.
I think Earth 1 taught that, but like, hey, let's do it again.
Yeah,
Let's do
Earth
more
1,
of
yeah,
that.
that's true.
Fine.
Oh, because Earth One's having so many issues getting books out.
I know.
Yeah, they
bad.
publish so infrequently.
Because they're so
And
good
in,
too.
in all honesty, as much as I like Earth One, it's basically just the Ultimate line.
Oh, yeah.
It's its own continuity. It's
Totally.
its own thing.
No, it's DC Ultimate.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And I do like how they're handling. I think they're doing a lot better than Ultimate.
Big time.
Because Ultimate's big problem was, well, we have a line. We need a book. Make a book. Even if it's not good, just make a book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it was trying to rework everything.
No, just
Yeah,
put out
as
a book
opposed to
when
just
it's
something.
good. When it's good, put it out.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for joining us today. This is streamed live most Thursdays at about 2 p.m. Eastern. Rob and I go through various things. When Rob's not here, I'll have Dan or Gary joining me on the show, and occasionally Sal flies in with Tiffany.
Hey, why not?
It's definitely a great show. RnBe, right, Rob? Isn't it like the greatest show on YouTube?
It is the greatest show ever.
Greatest show ever.
There's all the greatest shows that have ever existed, then there's this.
But you can also support us by going to twitch.tv and watching it live, or if you just want to support us, going over there and subscribing to watch the live show in the video on demand. You can also go over to our Patreon, patreon.com/Comicstorian, where you get early access to the RnBEs. You get early access to about 5 different podcasts, including a conspiracy discussion, a gaming discussion, and you also get early access to 3 different Comicstorian videos per week. Sal, before we go, just in case somebody decided to skip ahead in the video,
Right?
Where are you from?
Just visit youtube.com/comicpop and check us out. 5 shows per week discussing your favorite and least favorite comics.
There you go. All right. Thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next week right here on RnBE.
Peace.